Hey everyone, welcome back to the 7 Minute Workshop. This is where we talk with experts to break down complicated and timely topics that affect your business, and we do it in just 7 minutes. I procrastinate twice that long before going to the gym. Oh, our producer just messaged me. You go to the gym? That's rude. We are already moving on to a new theme for our 7 Minute Workshop this month. I know, already a new theme, and we're diving into all things analytics, what analytics is, how it's best used in a data-driven world. We're going to debunk the myths around it and reduce some of the fears that you may associate with it by offering some ways to improve your analytics through technology. And all this month, we're going to be joined by our VP of Product Management and Engineering for Suite Analytics, Joav Bally, and we're going to have Senior Product Marketing Manager Marc Holliday back with us, and we'll have them each week. And this week, we're just going to talk about the definition of analytics, breaking down what it is, what it's not, the value it brings, and overcoming some of the challenges around it. It's a big topic and a big task, but we can make it easy and powerful. A quick reminder before we get started, if you have any questions throughout the discussion, you can ask them in the comments and we'll get to them, or as many of them as we can, at the end of the conversation. Don't forget to tell us where you're tuning in from. We know that you've signed in from all parts of the world, and we'd love to give you a shout out right back. I am back in the Middle East myself, and happy to be joining you from that part of the world. If you have any advice around analytics, don't hesitate to share your thoughts in the comments, and we'd love to provide some of your advice to others for your insights as well. So now, please join me in welcoming Joav Bally and Marc Holliday. Hey Joav, hi Marc. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi Fritz, thank you for having us. Sorry,
Hi,
I missed the memo that we are wearing green today, apparently.
Yeah. Well, Marc got the memo though.
I got the memo.
Hopefully our audience is wearing green too. Okay, we're going to start with the basics. Joav, can you just kind of break down how you would define analytics, and how did analytics evolve?
Sure, I'm happy to. And I think what I would like to point out in any discussion about analytics is that analytics started way before there was analytics technology, right? It's something that human beings are doing for a long, long time. And we're actually very good at it. And over the time, we have taught computers how to get better at it too. But basically what analytics does is taking any type of event, and we at NetSuite usually look at business events, but it can be any event, and gather all the available data and information that we have, process it usually in our brain, and eventually figure out what do we do with this event, how do we react to it, and we take an action, we implement that action, and ultimately we evaluate, was the action that we have taken a good one, and did it influence the outcome that we wanted to achieve positively or not. As an example, or what technology has done is each of these phases of the analytical processes had taken them, and it really has reduced and or automated these phases to split seconds. And I think the ultimate example to that could be a self-driving car. And a self-driving car detecting a red traffic light and stopping. That's something that we are doing as human beings and as drivers for a very, very long time. It just took us a while to teach cars to do it. But if you think about it, that's what it does. It analyzes the event, the traffic light is red, and it figures out what to do, well, to reduce speed and to ultimately get to a halt before the red traffic light.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, I think those are all some really good examples and good ways of looking at it. I think sometimes we think about, we're analyzing data because we have a lot of data, but there needs to be kind of a why at the end of that. I think the next question that comes to mind, Marc, is, I think when people hear analytics and they think about the task involved, they think that this is maybe something that only big companies can do. Why should even small and medium-sized businesses care about analytics?
Well, I think because small and medium-sized businesses are generating a lot of data themselves, and they can use analytics to identify problems. When data comes to you in the form of a dashboard, and you have key performance indicators, you can see which areas of the company are need attention and take that action to correct whatever's happening in the event. Similar to Joav's analogy with a car, when you see a low tire pressure come on your dashboard of your car, you want to take action. You don't want to ruin the tire or cause an accident, so you go and fill your tire up and move on, and you've solved the problem. Other things that analytics can help small businesses with are process improvements. A lot of small businesses are doing things very manually, and when it comes to things like order to cash, procure to pay, even time to fill a position. And when you use analytics and you have that data to back up a need to change those processes or make more investments in those processes to make them more efficient, analytics can be a very valuable exercise to do. Other things, communications. When decision makers have the same set of information and they are analyzing the same set of information, not only do decisions get made faster, but they're made with more confidence because they're backed by the data. You know, in our own customer base, we've had a lot of change over the last couple of years. You know, retailers went direct to consumer, and so they had to understand online buying behavior so they can use things like data mining techniques to recommend other products or identify their most valuable customers to increase that shopping cart value. And on the other side of things, we've all experienced some kinks in the supply chain. So our product-based businesses are leveraging analytics to truly understand fulfillment times. If I go to your website and I buy something and you tell me it's going to be at my doorstep in 3 days, but it takes 14 days to get there, versus having the analytics say you really can't fulfill that order for 14 days, it sets that expectation with the customer, and customer satisfaction goes up exponentially when you set the proper expectations leveraging analytics.
I want to give a few shout outs here before we move on. We have Francesco from London. Thanks for tuning in. Clara from Vancouver. And from Toronto, Masroor. Did I say that right? Or is that the name of the person? Arlene from Auckland, New Zealand. That might be a first, New Zealand. I'm not sure. And Charlie from Cleveland, Ohio. It's definitely a first, and thanks for tuning in. Joav, Marc just talked about all the great benefits, and I think all of that makes sense, and I'm sold. But it's not easy all the time. Why do businesses struggle with analytics?
Yeah, I think there are a few reasons. Vendors. Software vendors like we, and I think we do a better job than many others, but we are very good in coming up with new technology and putting new technology out there. And I think for businesses sometimes it's hard to evaluate what is the right technology for me. When should I use what, and when do I have already enough technology to solve the problem? So I think this is one of the areas where I see certain companies trying to buy the hammer first before they even identified if they have a nail that they want to hit in the wall. So they always start with technology rather than with the problem that they would like to solve. Another area for me is a cultural one in companies, and I think we're hearing a lot about being data driven, but if we are honest, how often are we in meetings, or how often do we take decisions that are more gut driven rather than data driven? So I think it also takes time, and it takes time to achieve this cultural change, to go from gut driven to data driven, and really trust the data that we are looking at, and take decisions and implement the actions based on that. And lastly, I think being able to visualize and interpret the data that we are having correctly is a new skill that many employees are acquiring and need to learn. The industry has come up with the term data literacy, and we have to start learning how to read data and how to derive the right actions out of data that we are reading. And this is something I think from all the three that each and every one of us individually can do by themselves very nicely by just getting more and more familiar with building charts, reading charts, interpreting data that we have at our disposal, and just getting better in reducing the noise and making sure we are focusing on the important parts of what the data is telling us.
Yeah, and I'll add to that last point, the idea that we can often use data to tell a story we want to tell rather than the story it's meant to tell. I think one of the, I'm going to butcher this saying, but if you torture data long enough, it will tell you any story you want it to. And so that's also a little lesson learned. We want to open this up to some questions from the audience for those tuning in. If you have them, keep commenting, keep shouting out. We're going to do our best to say hello and answer as many questions as we can in the remainder of our time. And selfishly, I just want to ask Marc, what are the technologies that help with analytics?
Yeah, as Joav mentioned, there's the concept of data literacy and there's a concept of data maturity. And every company is somewhere on that spectrum. Some are just beginning their journey and some are further along down the path. But NetSuite has solutions for all those different phases. And it starts with just simply getting information out of the system. We have a technology called Save Searches, which gives a non-technical user a very elegant graphical user interface to pick and choose the fields to answer the questions they might have. And then those searches can be both saved for later reuse or shared with other NetSuite users to expand the analysis. We also have workbook technology, which adds the visualization capabilities. Charting and graphing data sometimes make it easier to tell those stories. And those the workbook can also be used to do more complex querying by joining different functional data sets, say between inventory and sales. Then our Connect product has the ability to export NetSuite data to other systems for analysis using common protocols like ODBC, JDBC, .NET, and REST protocols. And then lastly, the newest member of our analytics solution from a technology perspective is our new analytics warehouse that's built on Oracle's Analytics Cloud, as well as their autonomous data warehouse that brings the ability to join multiple sources of data into one centralized place alongside your NetSuite data and taking advantage of more advanced technologies like machine learning and artificial intelligence to have them go in and detect patterns and actually learn from your data and make recommendations to start that storytelling process. We're going to talk more about those later, but that kind of gives you a quick overview of some of the technologies that can be used for analytics.
Joav, anything to add to that? I know Marc touched on some of these things, and we just kind of went into a lot of depth on NetSuite Analytics Warehouse, a new product for us a couple of weeks ago at SuiteWorld.
Yeah, I think in general what the NetSuite approach to analytics tries to do is to really cater to every maturity level that our customers have. And we don't only provide analytics for the most advanced customers, but we really provide analytics for every customer. We start with whenever you have a NetSuite, you have analytics capabilities out of the box, and these are not only like generic analytical tools. No, NetSuite delivers analytical artifacts like reports, saved searches, workbooks, KPIs, dashboards, all of that out of the box so that you have a starting point. And I think it's important for us to deliver these because it really helps our customers familiarize themselves and gives them ideas of what type of analytics might be the right one for the business that they are in. And then from that point on, they can grow. And as they grow, we can help them with additional capabilities or with just digging deeper into the additional into the capabilities they're already using. And you touched upon, the latest addition to our analytics family, the analytics warehouse that we launched a few weeks ago. I would say that's a great tool, because that really gives you the power of advanced analytical capabilities that embeds AI and machine learning capabilities out of the box, without you needing to necessarily understand all the data science that is behind it, but it is really tailored towards your business and towards your terminology. So if you want to detect outliers, you detect outliers. You don't have to apply a k-means algorithm, which may or may not tell you something, but it really tells you what the outcome is if you apply it, which is it will give you outliers in your data. So I'm very happy about having this capability now as part of the NetSuite analytics family.
Okay, and hopefully we can dive into some of those topics like machine learning a little bit more in the weeks ahead. Some shout outs. We have Kelly from Cincinnati, Ohio. So Ohio is representing from across the state today. Thank you for tuning in. We have, I'm probably going to butcher this. I apologize. Begenç from Antalya, Turkey. And Lissandra from Malaga, Spain. Thank you guys for joining us here today from all over the world. Marc, advanced data analytics is the #1 priority for finance leaders right now, which maybe comes a little surprise to people, but why is that?
I think the short answer is they want to be better prepared. I think we saw a lot of disruption over the last couple of years, and finance professionals are there to look ahead, to do planning around capital and resources and other assets for the company to drive more value into the company. So advanced analytics provides scenario planning, so they can do what-if analysis in terms of, what happens if we need to scale our workforce up a lot or scale it back quite a bit. What's the ramifications of that? What if we want to offer more benefits to retain our employees? What does that look like? Do we want to add a 401k program for the first time? What's the effect on employee retention and our financial position if we were to do that? And other things like mergers and acquisitions, they can model using scenario planning, which merger or acquisition target is going to provide the highest return to our shareholders. And so I think they just want to be better prepared, because there will be other disruptions down the road. And I think if they take a more data-driven approach, they're better able to adapt to change when it comes.
Thank you for that. Those are some great examples, and we'll continue to focus on that topic, especially where finance leaders are concerned. Joav, one of the questions that has arisen is about data scientists, and we see that term or that role thrown around. Do you have to have a data scientist to start with analytics?
To start, no. I don't think you need to have a data scientist to start it. Again, it really depends on where each and every company is on their maturity level in terms of analytics. I think eventually, once you are growing on your analytics journey and you become more familiar with it, and you become more secure in using it and in trusting the data and becoming more data driven, I think once you are going into the advanced analytical capabilities, data scientists will definitely help you to uncover more insights out of your data. But it is a journey, and if you haven't dabbed in analytics yet, my recommendation would be, start with a small problem that you would like to solve, gather the data that you usually need to solve this problem, make sure everybody in your company or in your team or whoever needs to take decisions based on that data sources, on this data source is trusting the data, is familiarizing themselves with the data, take a few decisions, implement the decisions, see how that impacts your business, and do that for a few iterations, and then take it a level deeper, and then another level deeper. And eventually, I'm pretty sure you will get to a point where data scientists and more analytical more advanced analytical technologies will make more sense to you.
Sure. Well, I think that's about all we have time for today. And Masroor, I think I saw your question about open source reading material about learning the NetSuite system. Hopefully we can follow up with you, sort of unrelated to the topic of analytics, but we definitely have some answers for you on that we'll follow up with. But thank you so much for joining us today, Joav and Marc. We'll see you back here next week.
Great to be here, Fritz. See you next week.
All right. As always, a big thanks to all of you for tuning in. We'll be back with Joav and Marc again next week to discuss how to start improving your analytics and building a better analytics practice. That happens next Tuesday, November 9th at 12:30 p.m. Pacific time. We'll see you then.